Guru Granthsahibji Vyakhya. Raag Gauree Bairaagan, Kabir ji, Ang 332. Translation and explanation by Sonia Sodhi.
राग गौरी बैरागन कबीर जी। एक ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद। जीवत पितर न माने कोऊ, मुए सिराध कराही।
In this verse, Kabir ji endeavors to challenge the shallow observance of shradh or Pitri Paksha period when Hindus offer prayers to their ancestors, especially through a ritual of offering prayers, food, and water to the departed souls of the family, which is known as shradh. This period starts per the Hindu calendar from the full moon day of the month of Asun to the new moon day. During this period, the Brahman or priest is fed based on a belief that the food given to the priest reaches the ancestors. Literal translation: he does not honor his ancestors while they are alive, but he holds feasts after their death. Here Kabirji makes a concerted effort to question the superficial practice by saying that prior to their demise, he neglects to honor his ancestors, but once they pass away, he arranges feasts in their memory.
पितर भी बपरे, कहु क्यों पावे, कौआ कुकर खाई।
Pitar means ancestors, who are no longer alive. Bapure means poor unfortunate. Here the ancestors are referred as poor unfortunate. Kukar means dogs. Literal translation: tell me, how can his poor ancestors receive what the crows and the dogs have eaten up? Vertical bar 1 vertical bar. As there is a ritual in Hindu tradition that the last day of shradh is reserved to feed the crows and dogs, Kabirji questions the practice by asking how the ancestors would receive the food that is offered to be eaten up by dogs and crows.
मोको कुशल बतावो कोई।
Kusal means happiness or bliss. It is believed that performing ancestral rituals bestows blessings upon the individual's home, bringing forth happiness and abundance through the blessings received from the ancestors of the individual. Thus, Kabirji raises a profound query. If only someone could enlighten me about the true essence of genuine happiness. He poses this question with the intention of sharing wisdom on the nature of true happiness and how one can authentically achieve it, emphasizing the importance of moving beyond superficial rituals to find genuine happiness.
कुशल कुशल करते जग बिन से, कुशल भी कैसे होई रहाओ।
Literal translation: speaking of happiness and joy, the world is perishing. How can happiness be found? Vertical bar 1 vertical bar pause vertical bar. Kabirji here says that entire world is running around this illusion with a false belief misconception that by performing ancestral rituals, shradh i.e. feeding Brahmins crows dogs, bestows blessings and happiness upon the individual's home. Performing these rituals all their life, these people also perish in the end. Did they find the happiness they were seeking before they perished?
माटी के कर देवी देवा, तिस आगे ज्यो देई।
Literal translation: making gods and goddesses out of clay, people sacrifice living beings, goats etc., to them. Here Kabirji gives reference to another ritual or superficial practice where animals are sacrificed to the idols of gods made of clay.
ऐसे पितर तुम्हारे कहिए, आपन कया न लेही।
Literal translation: such are your dead ancestors, who cannot ask for what they want. Kabirji says that just like idols of gods, made of clay, cannot ask what they want, and people sacrifice what they want and offer to them, similarly your ancestors are also not able to ask what they want.
सर्जियो काटे निर्जियो पूजे, अंत काल को भारी।
Literal translation: You murder living beings and worship lifeless things. At your very last moment, you shall suffer in terrible pain. Kabirji highlights that by blindly adhering to societal rituals, individuals often engage in the harm of living beings and worship lifeless objects. Such practices, he suggests, lead people further away from spiritual enlightenment and make it more challenging for them to attain genuine happiness and bliss.
राम नाम की गत नहीं जानी, पै डूबे संसारी.
Literal translation. You do not know the value of the Lord's name, you shall drown in the terrifying world ocean. Kabirji observes that individuals like these live in fear and fail to comprehend the Almighty, the ultimate source of true bliss. They overlook the significance of Naam, the meditation on the Lord's name, and remain entrapped in the illusion of the material world, or Maya.
देवी देवा पूजे डोले, पार ब्रह्म नहीं जाना.
Literal translation. You worship gods and goddesses, but you do not know the Supreme Lord God. According to Kabirji, despite their worship of gods and goddesses made from clay, these individuals persist in a state of fear and apprehension because they lack an understanding of the true Almighty.
कहत कबीर अकुल नहीं चेत्या, भिख्या स्यो लपटाना.
Literal translation. Says Kabir, you have not remembered the Lord who has no ancestors, you are clinging to your corrupt ways. Kabirji says that you have failed to remember the Lord, who is free from lineage. Instead, you persist in clinging to your misguided and corrupt ways, and not break through the illusion of Maya. Summary. To sustain and nurture happiness within their households, people often engage in shradh rituals or offer sacrifices to clay idols of gods. However, despite these efforts, they continue to dwell in a state of fear. This is because they have lost sight of the true Almighty, one without any ancestral lineage, and instead, they remain ensnared in the illusory grasp of Maya.